All right. I'm just going to mute a couple of the people who probably did not hear me. But anyway, all right, guys. Well, welcome to another webinar by Phone Manager. My name is Alexei. I run Phone Manager and Eurasian Solutions, and today's webinar on optimizing Google business profile and getting reviews. I'll introduce our host, our guest rather, in a minute. But first of all, for those of you who don't know me, basically I run a Google partner agency, Eurasian Solutions. We do a lot of digital marketing related stuff, and you know, I consider myself a serial entrepreneur. I run a number of different businesses. I also do a little bit of business coaching, and I'm an author. I wrote a book, and I'm working actually on writing a book right now. Today, I basically want to focus on Phone Manager, which is one of our latest services that we started offering early in the year, which is really virtual assistants that can help you sort of take the hassle out of certain processes within your business that either take too much time or potentially are not your strength. You know, these could be as simple as taking incoming calls, or potentially as complicated as booking people for you and getting prospects qualified as the calls come through. We also find that virtual assistants work really well when it comes to running marketing campaigns, specifically in the sense of follow-ups and providing customer service as well. So that's what Phone Manager is all about. And I thought, rather than basically talking about virtual assistant, I want to touch on some of the points in the business that potentially need a little bit of attention. And look, while we do a lot of work with Google My Business, I don't consider myself an expert. So I found an expert today. In fact, Karl is someone I met early in the year. And Karl, you know, I'll do a quick intro from what I gathered out of the internet, but you can obviously clarify a few points. Karl's a managing director of Xenix Diamonds. It's a diamond business based in Brisbane. He's also the founder of 5-Star Reviews, a fairly recent business. He's a former army officer, mate. I didn't know that, but when I looked up at your LinkedIn profile, it came up. You did something with artillery. And look, excuse my ignorance. You also wrote a book, Rock Her World. I believe that was through the Key Person of Influence. Yep. And also, mate, you do a lot of other things that we'll probably find out in the coming years as well. Did I miss anything?
No, I mean, I do love the coaching as well, and I do a lot of coaching for the guys at Dent.global. And I guess my passion is really, you know, being a small business owner, having spent 26 years in the trenches, it's really now time for me to kind of give back and share and pass on the learnings, things that I've developed over those number of years. I'm also actually a Telstra Business Judge for the Telstra Business Awards. So that's a pretty cool gig, and we do a lot in the charity space as well, which I'm very proud of.
Cool. All right. Well, look, I wanted to do this slightly different in the sense that, you know, you've obviously got a bit of a presentation. I want to make this engaging because there's no point for us just to sort of keep pushing the content forward without engaging the crowd, because everyone's got a completely different experience with Google Business. I know a lot of people are super worried about the negative reviews and what to do about them, but obviously there's a lot of other things that they should be focusing on as well. So I guess what I wanted to do is bring up the marketing funnel and potentially have a chat about reputation, where Google reviews fit within this funnel. I mean, for those of you who are not familiar, essentially, whenever you run a marketing campaign, you want to, you know, make people aware that you exist, on what you do, and so on. And then from there, people basically come to a point where they need your services, so they become suspect. They suspect they need it. Then they basically become a prospect as they inquire, and then they take action to buy. Now, in my understanding from the marketing perspective, Google Business, you know, fits in perfectly, typically within that, you know, between the suspect and the prospect side of things. And if you sort of ask yourself, you know, last time you went to a new cafe and stuff, you know, did you look up that cafe beforehand? Did you look at the Google reviews? And most of the time, it's like you've trusted complete strangers to help you with the actual decision that you made. That's my understanding. But obviously, with the awareness side of things, you may be Googling things up, and then you find a business that you knew nothing about coming up and grabbing your attention purely because of reviews. I mean, Karl, what's your take on the marketing funnel and the Google reviews from this perspective?
Yeah, the key thing about Google Business is that it gets your clients at the moment when they're actually searching for your product, as opposed to like scrolling on TikTok or looking through Facebook, where, you know, you're not really there looking for products and services. You're kind of there doing all different stuff. And if you see an ad, well, then you might be engaged, and that might be in the interest phase. But The unique thing about the Google business is that it traps people in that original very beginning awareness, where they're really looking for, I'm in that buying zone. I'm not just in the scrolling zone, I'm in the buying zone. I'm looking for a plumber, I'm looking for an electrician, I'm looking for a cafe. Where are the best places to go? So I'm really much more in a buying mind frame, which is why the Google business has had so much traction in the last couple of years. They used to only be worth about 25% of your SEO. Then it went up to 33, and now it's at 36% of your SEO. It just comes from optimizing your Google business profile, which shows you that Google understands that the buying behavior and the way that people are searching for things has changed, and they're obviously adjusting to accommodate for that.
Well, look, I guess, from a marketing perspective, the campaigns that we run, we find that more and more people try to do social media campaigns because, look, let's be honest, they're fairly cheap. They allow you to sort of approach a lot of people. But when it comes to conversion, they don't necessarily produce very good results. In fact, I always hear customers complaining about the quality of leads that Facebook generates. Now, there's obviously a right and a wrong way to do things, and every business is obviously different. But I find that social media in particular is very good at awareness. You can make a lot of people aware that you exist. But then from there, you really need to funnel those people down. And I think when people really start searching and understanding the need for your service, that's where your reputation, that's where your SEO and Google Ads really come through. So, yeah, I think it's super important to maintain your profile. And hopefully within your presentation, you'll touch on a few points that can make a positive difference for a lot of our attendees.
Yep. And guys too, like we love an interactive session. So if you've got a question or we say something that kind of sparks a question, type it in the chat. We love questions. I'd love to answer them. So is everybody quite familiar what we mean when we talk about the Google business profile? Just give me a thumbs up if you understand. Yes. So sort of. Okay. So Patricia, and for all of the others that might also be unsure, is that when you're Google searching, and you type in, like, let's say your business name, on the very right-hand side of your Google search, you'll see a panel, which is your business. Okay. Think of this like the old yellow pages. It's Google's way of indexing your business. And more clients today are actually getting all of the information that they need from your Google business profile without ever visiting your website. So now more than ever, it's super important to make sure that your Google business profile is putting forward the best version of your business. They always say you never get a second chance to make a first great impression. Today, I found this really shocking. Today, they say the average attention span. Actually, let me ask you the question. What do you think the average attention span of us as humans today is? Just pop it in the chat. What do you think the average attention span in I'm going to give you a clue. It's in seconds. How many seconds do you think is the average attention span?
We're competing with a goldfish here, by the way, guys.
Yeah, definitely. 3 seconds. We're a little bit better than 3 seconds. Jay said, thank you, 4 seconds. Actually, 8 seconds. But the fact that it's 8 seconds isn't the key part. The fact is that a couple of years ago, it was 10 seconds. So we're actually in a downward trend at the moment of competing with people's attention spans. And like, Alexi was saying, it's like you really need to capture them, at their vital points around the interest and the desire, and get them to ultimately take action.
Yeah. Well, look, I guess one other thing I'd add to the Google business side of things, and this may sound crazy completely from someone who does digital marketing side of things, the biggest problem when it comes to digital marketing is actually your website. So people making a decision based on your Google business is actually a good thing. Sometimes you probably wouldn't want them to click through unless your website is heavily optimized. And even then, the conversion rate is going to be lower. So the more things that you ask people to do, or the more steps you want them to take, typically that's where people drop off. So essentially Google business, if you can come up through that, positive reviews, clear information, it's clear what you do, will get you a lot of good results. All right, well, let's move towards your presentation, mate. So I'll pass the controls over to you. I found a nice handsome photo.
That's a really old photo, that one.
Well, if you type in Karl Schwantes, this is what you're going to find. So, mate, I don't know if you want to do something about it, but maybe keep it. I don't know. All right, I will pass the controls over to you. Just give me one moment.
Cheers.
All right. I didn't know that recording needs to be stopped and restarted, but anyway.
All good.
Full control.
Full control. I have the con. Okay, so let me flick over. Can everybody just give me a thumbs up if you can see the screen? Awesome. So today what I thought I'd do is I thought I'd run through this little brochure that I made, and if you want some copies of the resources that I've got here, just type your email in the chat. function, and I'll make sure that Alexi emails it out to you. So these are the 7 mistakes that I often find businesses make when they really start down the road of asking for Google reviews. The very first one is thinking that clients, just because you've done a great job of looking after them, just thinking that clients will leave a Google review automatically for you. Most people in the very beginning, when they start out, probably have about a 1 in 10 conversion ratio. And if you take nothing away from today's presentation, just take this, that about 86% of people will leave a Google review for you if you simply ask. So being intentional about asking is really important. Now, is it going to feel comfortable the very first time you do it? Probably not. Okay, but that's where practice comes into it. So making sure that you're practicing how to ask people for a Google review. The second thing is, and I see this very often, is that people are asking for a Google review at the wrong time. And I don't know whether you've heard that great saying that says, you know, the right thing done at the wrong time is still the wrong thing. So, you know, it's really important to look at, and I call this the happiness window. So what we want to do is that you want to look for the time when your clients are at their happiest. So just in the chat, actually, just so I get a feel for what you guys do, can you put in the chat what your business is, just so I can get a feel? Because sometimes I love to personalize the presentation to the people in the room. So just give me a feeling for what it is that you guys do. So we have furniture removals. Awesome. Metal roofing, trade services, furniture removals. Okay, great. So thank you. I'm as the tech ninja. Nice one. Health education. Awesome. So furniture removal. So for you, that would be like maybe the time when you move the furniture in and it's in, and you know it looks amazing, and the client goes, "Oh, thank God I didn't have to move that furniture myself." That's a great time. Oops. That's a great time to ask for the Google review. So making sure that you look for that happiness window to ask for the Google review and just be intentional about it. The next thing here is having less than 74 Google reviews. They did a study of 2.4 million small businesses across 30 business categories, and they found that the average business out there had 73 Google reviews. So do you know how many Google reviews that you guys have? Yeah? When was the last time you Googled yourself? So a lot of times people say, well, look, you know, I've got 20 Google reviews. That's great. And the truth is, according to Google, that really isn't. So most of the clients that I work with, our goal is to get you to 100 Google reviews so that you stand out from the competition. And also not just having loads of 5-star Google reviews, you need to make sure that your review average is higher than 4. Because people really won't consider using your business if they see lots of 1-stars or 3-star reviews. The next one here is that not all Google reviews are created equally. Now, what does that mean? Well, it means that there's 5 different levels of a Google review. The bottom level is someone who just gives you a 5-star review. Now, that's better than nothing, but it's still not as amazing as it can be. The next level up from that is somebody that gives you like a one-liner. So it says, look, hey, I saw Patricia. She was awesome. You should go check her out. Now, that sounds nice because, you know, you just said Patricia's awesome, but it doesn't actually have a detailed description. So as a local guide, and Alexi would know this, like when you're in a local guide, it's because you're leaving lots of reviews, you're helping Google in lots of different ways. They give you bonus points when you write very detailed reviews. So the more that you can get your clients to write a detailed review, the better in Google it will be. The next one, local guides rock. Yeah, I agree, Alexi. Then the next level up from that is when you start having keywords show up in your Google reviews. Most people don't know this, but if you go onto your Google review portfolio and you click on the Google reviews, it'll show you, it says, you know, people often mention, and it'll show you the keywords, the sentiments that are being optimized in your Google review portfolio. So maybe at the end, I'll show you a little bit of what that looks like. The next level up from that is when they have photos included into their Google reviews. So that's what a level 5, you know, it's got photos, keywords, detailed description, and obviously the 5-star. So making sure that you get the best level of Google reviews that you can. The next one here is that sometimes people think that just because I've got the most amount of reviews, it means that I'm going to take out the local spot. So when we're searching, when we type in, let's say, furniture removals, at the top, you usually have your ads. Then below that, you have your local search, where there's typically 3 businesses. Has everyone seen that, where you see like the map and you see the 3 businesses in there? Not always is the person with the most amount of reviews in the #1 position. Okay, so there are a lot of other things that you've got to do around optimizing your Google business profile, making sure that all of your products and services are listed. You've got a keyword targeted bio. You're doing Google posting. There's quite a lot of functionality that you can add into that. So you need to have Google reviews because they account for 16% of your SEO, but you really need to spend the time, and it only takes a couple of hours to really optimize your Google business profile so that you have a top 1% on Google profile. Number 6, having Google reviews older than 3 months makes them irrelevant. Okay. If you've done a ton of Google reviews, let's say you got 20 to 30 Google reviews, but it was 6 months ago, the truth is that 85% of customers will not pay attention to a Google review that's older than 3 months. And as many as 40% won't even pay attention to it if it's older than 2 weeks. So what Google wants is they want this like quality, quantity, and recency. They want to see loads of Google reviews, like even if it's 1 to 3 every week, just showing up in your feed. That tells Google that you're a proactive business, you're doing the right things, you're playing by Google's rules. And at the end of the day, Google is a game and it has a scoreboard and rules. And if you play by Google's rules, they'll send you lots of traffic, which ultimately comes down to eyeballs. So more and more people looking at your website, more people clicking on the call button to make a call to you, or even asking for directions on how to get to your business. The last one here, the 7th one, is that your most recent reviews show up first. By default, Google will show up what it considers as your most relevant review. And sometimes this can be 3 months, 6 months, or even older. So again, this is another reason why you need to make sure that you've got lots of relevant reviews showing up on a constant basis. But I've seen it happen where the most relevant review, according to Google, was a bad review. So you might even have a ton of like amazing 5-star reviews, but if the most relevant one is the most recent one, according to Google, that they're going to show up, it can actually be very detrimental to your business. As many as 2 out of 10 people will consider not using your business if they read one-star Google review. So that's why it is so important to really prioritize your Google reputation. So what I thought I'd do now is I thought I'd show you a little bit about what an optimized profile looks like. Alexi, can you still see my screen? Now change tabs. Awesome. So this is my other business. I know it's a pretty cool business, and Patricia is all of a sudden, and Jason's all of a sudden looking a lot closer because we're going to be talking about diamonds. So this is my other business, Xenox Diamonds. We just ticked over our 900th 5-star Google review. So I'm just going to show you what it looks like. So as I said, when you click on it, see up here where it says people often mention. This is showing you what the keywords are showing up in your Google reviews. So you can see for me, we predominantly do engagement rings. That's showing up as an engagement ring there. And you can see here the reviews by default, the most relevant, but we've got loads of photos, detailed descriptions talking about, what it's like. And if I go to newest here, you can see there's Alexi there at #1. You can see here lots of reviews all within a week, but it's a consistent basis. When you look at the profile, make sure that you've got things like appointment links. A lot of times people leave that off. Here is what your products and services. So even if you're a service-based business, so what was one of the services? Who's got a service-based business? Jason, do you want to just come off mute? Did I say your name right? We've had some problems with mute. Yep. Yeah, gotcha. Yeah. Did I say your name right?
I'm actually filling in for Jason. So my name's Claire. Sorry.
Okay. I just thought maybe there's a unique way of saying it, but thank you for correcting me.
Yeah, no, that's okay. We're a trades business. So electrical services, carpentry, painting, air conditioning.
Great. So even though you're a services-based business, you can turn those services into products. So you could have painting, electrical services, and all of these sort of things sitting in here. And then when you click in there, you go into more detail about, well, what kind of painting services? Inside, outside, you know, all of that sort of stuff. So there's really an absolute ton of stuff that you can do with this profile. You can have some Q&A. You can have a really cool bio here, which has a lot of keyword rich things. A lot of times people look at their bio like something out of a brochure. You know, like if I wrote this and said, Xenox Diamonds is a 46-year-old second generation family business. Do you think anybody is searching for that? No. You know, what do they want to know? They want to find out how to get the perfect engager ring. I want to have something that's custom made. So if you look at that, there's like a ton of like keywords in there. And then here you have the posting down the bottom, which is kind of like, if you think about it, it's kind of like a cross between LinkedIn and Facebook. You know, you got a load more control as to what you can do, but it's a bit more corporate or professional than what you might post on Facebook. Okay, so yep, I got that. Thanks, Alexi. So that's what your profile looks like. And like I said, everything that you see in here is 36% of your local SEO. So if you're looking to attract more clients from your local area, this is really a massive play on generating leads and sales for your business. For me personally, in the diamond business, that Google portfolio generates over 3 sales every single week. But that's not even the best part. For me, the best part is I don't even spend $1 on Facebook or Google ads to generate that. So how many of you would like to generate 1 to 3 warm leads every single week from your Google portfolio? Who would love that as a powerful lead gen source in your business? Well, that's why, you know, we wanted to bring this to you today, because most people really are sitting in that ignorant bliss kind of phase. And I was there too before COVID. You know, we were generating all these Google reviews, and I didn't really understand the impact it had on our business. But COVID came along and we pretty much lost 97% of our revenue overnight for 8 weeks. And that'll happen when the government comes out and bans weddings. So we had to look and sort of say, well, where are our clients coming from and how can we get some more of them? And it's when I started looking down at the numbers that I found that we'd had all of these clients every single week coming to us. And we captured it in our point of sale. So it's all documented, but that they'd come to us just because of our Google reviews. So it's huge. And I know that it can work for every business. I've done it with accountants. I've done it with electricians, lawyers. It doesn't matter what business, because at the end of the day, we are no longer in a B2B or a B2C world. We've really transitioned now into a H2H world, which is human to human. Almost every human, before they make a buying decision, wants to make sure that they feel like they can know, like, and trust the other person that they're buying from. And one of the places that we do that from a reputation point of view is by looking at their reviews. And there are more and more people every single day that are writing reviews than there ever have before. So it stands to reason that that your clients are doing exactly the same thing, you know. So what I thought I'd do now is we'll sort of open it up to the room. Do you have any questions? Anything you'd love to ask me about Google My Business, which has been renamed to Google Business Profile now, or Google reviews in general? Just if you have, raise your hand, and Alexi will take you off mute. You got a golden opportunity to pick my brain and ask me anything you'd love to know about the Google side of things. Yes, go Claire.
All right, I'm asking to unmute, so you'll have to, yep, go for it.
Okay, thank you. I know when I've posted in Google My Profile, I think you said it was, beforehand, there's different subsections. So I think I posted in what's new, and that comes up with those articles you were showing before.
Yep.
Show, you know, I think there's a couple other settings where it's like products and whatnot. Is that one that then also appears as like a subsection under that?
They all appear at the bottom. So the only one that doesn't appear at the bottom is the event. So at Xenox, we run whiskey tasting nights. Next month, we've got a gin tasting night. You know, all of those things appear for the events, appear at the top under your contact details. But all of the other posts around a product, what's new, the product will go to the product section in the middle. But the what's new, you know, all of those other things will be down the bottom.
Yeah, okay, cool.
And they've all got different validity dates. So a what's new post will typically last about 7 days.
Okay.
There are like the event thing will be based on the time frame. There's also another post that you can do, which is a COVID post. So that's also really beneficial to make sure you do that lasts about 28 days. And there's another one there around, I can't remember what the next one is, but there's another one there where you can actually put in valuable resources where people can download a PDF. It could be something that's important, and you can set a 12-month, validity date on offer. That's what it is. So you can actually use assets in the offer space.
Okay. So I didn't realize it only stayed on there for 7 days. Are they still able to access those posts you put up after the 7 days, or is it just removed?
Google says it archives it, and you can click another button to get there, but the reality is that nobody will.
Oh, okay. No worries.
So the gold standard is really to do a Google post once every week.
Yeah.
What I find personally is that the Google business is sort of like not 100% complete. It's been a part of the Google Plus, if you remember that beast, which Google phased out, and the post side of things is purely inherited from there. So essentially, Google did try to create the whole social media engagement posting concept, but decided to let it go. And the content itself is very important for the user, which is why Google still pushes it forward. But essentially, some of the controls are a bit edgy, if you like. Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah, that makes sense.
What I like about all this stuff is that not many people actually follow through on their Google My Business. They set up the absolute basics, which gives a lot of other businesses an opportunity to do better. I mean, even with some of the biggest players, they're probably the worst at following through on their brand and their reputation. And if you ask me, I mean, look, a lot of businesses sell exactly the same product. The only thing that pulls them apart is their reputation and their presence. So if you think about your Google business and I guess what you can do and what you can achieve, it's really a no-brainer.
Yeah, nice. Thank you.
Do we have any other questions? Guys, put up your hand or use that little hand up symbol to draw attention, or use the chat, and yeah, we'll take it from there. Bram, okay, let me just enable you. Sorry, the controls are a bit awkward when you are running the show and the slideshow. Yep, you should be able to unmute, Bram.
I think it was Glenn had his hand up.
Glenn?
Is it possible to get a copy of the slides? I'm a novice.
Look, I'll try to actually put together the recording, given the fact that half of the presentation is recorded on Karl's computer and half on mine. But yeah, absolutely, we'll be able to share the slides as well.
Much appreciated. Thank you.
No worries. Glenn, did you have a question?
Yeah, I suppose we've been having problems with talking to customers who say, yes, they are going to do a Google review. And I don't know whether it's us giving them the wrong link, but I've had Google come back, say they've done it. We can't find it on Google. So I don't know whether it's just, like you say, Google has changed recently and we've had a wrong link. But some of the customers struggle, some of the older ones, I guess, too, who don't understand computers these days. But one lady, in the end, we did get a review from her, but it was on it came through on our Service Mate, which is the management program we use instead of going to Google.
So Glenn, what I would say about that is that typically I see this with a lot of business owners when they start out. This is going to sound shocking, okay? Customers don't always tell the truth. Okay. Yeah. I'll do a Google review. Yeah. No, it's in the bag. I'll do it when I get home. Nope. I reckon you probably got about a 1%, 10%, maybe 10% if you're lucky chance that if you don't capture the client when they're in that happiness moment to do the Google review right then and there, your chance of converting into Google review becomes almost non-existent. And it's pretty understandable. Like people get busy, you get distracted, it goes out of your mind. And quite frankly, leaving a Google review for your business isn't their top priority in life. Yeah. So there is a process that we teach. There are two programs that I run. One is the Google 7-Day Challenge, which is all about going through and completely optimizing your profile from, it's called a 7-Day Challenge because every day it's just 20 minutes with a 5-minute homework task. So I chunked it down so that everybody comes out the other side with a completely optimized profile. And Graham, even for people that are technologically challenged, we make sure that you get there in the end.
Good.
So that's the first part. The second part is all around the reputation builder program, which is showing people the things that you need. You need persuasive priming. So if I just come out of the blue and just go, hey, leave me a Google review, you're going to go, well, where did that come from? So you have to have some priming to let a client know that a Google review is coming.
Yeah.
You need to have surprise and delight elements in your customer journey experience. You need to make sure that you have really, like, if it's a 9 out of 10 or an 8 out of 10 experience, the conversion ratio of getting a Google review becomes significantly less. But if you're smashing it and it's a 10 out of 10, you're blowing the clients away, like literally blowing them away, then the opportunity to get a Google review becomes so much easier. Then you need to look for your happiness window. You need to have powerful scripting. Okay, because if you're not used to scripting it, this is how it sounds to me for a lot of clients that when I first start working with them would be something like this. Hey, Glenn, hey, if it's not too much trouble and you wouldn't mind, is it possible that you could probably leave me if you go onto my page and find a link and you get the idea, right? There is some really powerful scripting that we've perfected over the last 5 years on how to just increase that conversion ratio. For me, when I ask a client for a Google review, my conversion ratio is about 8 out of 10. If I ask 10 people, I'll get 8 Google reviews. So it's all about looking at the system and the structure. And realistically, if you're not converting 5 out of 10, the issue isn't your quality necessarily of what you're doing or the service or whatever. It's the systems and the processes that you've got there to make sure that you're capturing the Google reviews in the right way and as powerfully with a level 5 Google review. Does that make sense?
Yeah. Be nice to get photos too. I'd like how you get the photos there.
Yep. There's a strategy and that we've got to doing that as well.
One thing I'd add on that, Glenn, I have seen what you're relating to a couple of times, not a lot, but a couple of times where a person swears that they left a review, but the business still hasn't received it. And, they even sent proof from their end that the Google review has been done. And Google's got this concept called the sandbox. So sometimes when they find that something suspicious is going on, they may isolate a review, which eventually will come through. And typically it happens where, let's say you guys are sitting on the same network. Let's say you're using a mobile, someone else is using mobile, you're connected to the same Wi-Fi, and Google suspects that you potentially have done something to influence that review. And they may put it in the sandbox for a while. Or sometimes potentially, a lot of people have left a review from the same IP address and they think, hey, something's fishy around that. So I've seen a couple of those things, not too many, but that may be another explanation to what you're describing.
Yeah, there's lots of things that Google can flag a Google review. So, and which means that they don't show it up. Things like if a Google review has been left from the same IP address, so if someone's left you a Google review from one computer and then somebody else from the same computer tries to do it, that's a flag. There's less other things that are just honestly things that are just going to flag Google's algorithms. The point is probably not to focus too much on the ones that you can't get up. The point is, like, how can I get 10, understanding that maybe 2 or 3 won't show up, so it's just a numbers game at the end of the day. Like, you just want to be aiming to get, like, let me ask you the question. How many clients would you see in a week or a month?
Well, we're only small, so roofing takes, you get 2 jobs done in a week, so maybe 4 clients in a week at the most. Over a month, 10 or 12.
Okay, so let's go 10. Okay, you should be aiming for a minimum of 5 Google reviews every month. Now, if you could do that, which is really 1 to 2 a week, if you're getting 1, even let's say 1 a week, there's 50 in a year. Year 2, you're at 100. Year 3, you're at 150. So this journey of doing it begins now. So what you'll find is that when you get to most of the clients that I work with, when they get to about 100 Google reviews, they start generating 1 to 2 new clients every 3 to 4 weeks. When you get to 200, it's 1 new client every 1 to 2 weeks. So that's really the numbers. But, when was the best time to plant an oak tree? 20 years ago. When's the next best time? Now. So start now. Don't, yes, look at people like me that's got 900 and getting, that's amazing, but start small. Aim for 50, then 50, get to 100, then get to 150. But it should be something that you're really intentional about, because if you're not, the client won't be. And, you'll get 12 months down the track thinking, I remember that webinar that I was on with Alexi and Karl, and they talked about this Google stuff, and I thought I should have done something, but I didn't. You know, well, if you had, you'd be 50 Google reviews up, or maybe more.
Yeah.
The other interesting thing is that you may only see 10 clients or do 10 clients, but how many quotes do you do that maybe don't end up in a Google review?
Well, I do probably 20 a week sometimes.
Right. So there's a limiting belief that many people have, which is that a person must be a client in order to leave a Google review.
Yeah.
Does that sinking in?
Yeah, you know, there are people who just can't go ahead now because of cost or just timing. I've had people who went to sign up but ended up in a divorce and that stopped the job going ahead. But they were happy at the time as well. So I can see where you're coming from there. Yeah.
Yeah. So the point is that if you're going 10 out of 10 for every single client, then there's no reason why you can't ask other people for a Google review, you know? So
the way I'd look at it is within the customer journey, there's so many milestones when you can actually ask for a review. And we had quite a few reviews for the businesses that I look after out of people that basically just said, look, you know, this guy was great. He showed me exactly how things should have been done. Really appreciate the time. And that was the actual review. So the person went the extra mile to explain something or educate the customer. And that was enough for them to actually leave a review. Yeah. We've got a question from Jane in chat. Jane, I'll try to unmute you in case you want to clarify what you're asking. Karl, do you want to check that out? Jane?
We service around Australia and come up in searches based on AdWords. However, our reviews do not show up based on our local area. Can we get around this with additional addresses? Yes. So the whole idea is that the Google reviews are attached to a Google business profile. Okay. And a Google business profile typically has a pin that is dropped somewhere. You know, so for me, it's here in Brisbane in the CBD and, you know, a certain radius around that. The strategy for most people is to optimize one Google business profile, get it up, get a decent number of reviews, and then replicate that strategy in other cities. So you might have a pin dropped in Brisbane, one in Sydney, one in Melbourne, or whatever it is that you go around Australia to kind of do. So, but it's much easier to get traction on one Google business profile before you start setting up another one. Does that answer your question, Jane? Oh, I can't see you. Maybe just type yes in the chat.
I'm not sure if Jane's microphone's working, but
no.
Yeah. And yeah, I guess what you've posted, Karl, in case you guys have got really specific questions and want to have a chat to Karl, he's obviously available. There's a link right there in the chat as well. I guess on the other topic, one of the things I guess I got to ask is, you know, I got to at least touch on is negative reviews. I mean, what's your take on negative reviews? I get so many people that are like emotionally challenged by the whole thing. I mean, what do you think about negative reviews and course of action?
So let me ask you guys this question. Hands up if you've ever had a 1-star review or 1-star review. Yeah, thank you. Great. Does it sting? Yeah, it really stings, doesn't it? It's not pleasant to get a 1-star review. Now, apart from the fact that it's essentially free business coaching advice from your clients about what didn't work, there is a way to turn, and I've done it many times where I've turned a 1-star review into a 5-star review. And it comes down to how you handle it. My number one bugbear is what I hate is when people come on and go, well, you know, we've checked our records and we can find no record of you in our system. Okay, here's a secret for you. If someone's likely to leave a terrible 1-star review for you, they're probably going to use an alias email. How many of you have more than one email address? Maybe an email address that you use for spam stuff. Okay, great. So stop saying that, okay? Because nobody cares, okay? You just really need to come at it from 3 points. Number one is empathy. Second one is acknowledgement. And the third thing is remedy. So empathy would be, hey, Claire, like it must have really sucked, you know, that you don't have to use those words, but it must have been really terrible that, you know, the electrician didn't turn up on time. I can understand how that probably put you out, you know, particularly when you were trying to pick up the kids and do that. look, you know, we really pride ourselves in, you know, looking after our clients, and we'd love the opportunity to make it up to you. What I'd love to offer you is blah, 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 whatever you can do, an hour free electrical time. Please reach out to me on these contact details. Because at some level you're writing for the person, but on the other level, you're writing for every single other person that reads that review and your response. And I guarantee you, there are lots of people, when they go to a Google portfolio, they go straight to, let me show me the 1-star reviews and how did the business owner handle that? Because sometimes what we do when business is going well doesn't say as much about us as what we do when business is not going well, you know, when it's hitting the fan. So don't be afraid of 1-star reviews. Okay, it's almost impossible that you can go your whole business career and never have a bad review or anything less. Focus on the positives, but understand that when businesses do drop the ball, because we're all human, that if you handle it well, not only can you turn it around, as I've done many times, but you also show and demonstrate to everybody else that you're a good quality business that cares about its clients.
Yeah. I found that, I can't remember where exactly I read that the person who's unhappy is 18 times more likely to leave a review as opposed to a person who's happy. So getting negative reviews is actually quite natural, but essentially, if you're just going to let that happen, you're going to end up with, you know, 2 or 3 star rating overall. And I guess one other thing that's interesting and that's worth talking about is, you know, Carl's Xenix Diamonds business has got 902 reviews, and I posted a review when I saw him basically posting on Facebook about the milestone of reaching 900 reviews. I thought that was awesome. And I've been to Carl's shop, and it's excellent. It's just got the feel, you know, it's really something that you need to experience yourself. But, you know, I looked through all the positive reviews and I thought, you know what, I'm going to look at the negative reviews. I clicked on that. And even though it's 5 stars, there's a few negative reviews as well. I was like, oh, now this is a real business, right? Because you can't have 900 reviews that are all positive, but they all get lost and they all reply to, and they all handle in such a way that you can see that the person cares about those people. And that's really essentially what you want people to see. You want your customers to understand that you can't please everybody. It's just not possible. But if someone was not happy, you take it as feedback and you deal with it. You don't take it all defensive. I mean, I'm not sure if you've seen any of those reviews where someone left a review saying, hey, I didn't like this business. And then the person went into all the reasons why exactly that happened and why they're right, and the person saying that is wrong. It's like, well, do you really want to be dealing with people like that? I mean, I've implemented a policy a while back that we don't want to take businesses on board that genuinely are not good. It's just, you can't really help them in the long run, right? I mean, can you fix it? Yes. But essentially, if the business doesn't have the core values around helping the customer, I don't want to work with it. As simple as that.
Yeah. The other thing too, that most people really don't think about when they're going into combat mode, you know, responding to this 1-star review, there's actually 2 really bad things that can happen if you go into fight mode with a client over a 1-star review. Number one, they can actually go back in and edit their review and make it worse. Okay, so most people don't think about that. They can actually go in and go, I've seen it, like blank, and then they go edit it, and then they go, we're adding this part as well. The second thing is, and this happened to another client that I spoke to recently, they went in and got 5 of their friends to also leave a 1-star review. So trust me, the dollar figure, like remember I said 2 out of 10 people will consider not using your business because of a 1-star review. Now you imagine for you, Glenn, you know, like if one client a month just all of a sudden decided not to come to you because of a 1-star review, what would that be worth in dollar figures over a year?
Say 25 grand a month.
Okay, so do you think it's worthwhile spending $200 to make good with a client to save 25 grand?
Yeah, sure.
Yeah.
I was actually just going to say, and Alexi would know this, I got a 1-star review just last week, which was taken down. But it's an interesting one because we visited his place a year and a half ago. So, 18 months are over. And he's got his roof done, not by us, but by someone else. But he's hoping to get it through insurance. So he basically did a bad review for me and said that I didn't give him it was just a quote at the time, but now he's blackmailing me to give him a report on his roof. I mean, I can only write what we found, and it wasn't even me went out. I had someone working for me back then too, who was doing quotes. And all of a sudden I get this one-star review. And so I've had to make a deal then that I'll do a report for him if he takes it down. So, and 18 months has passed. It's not like it was 2 months ago or a month ago or even 6 months ago.
Yeah. But there's a way like you could respond to that review that doesn't come across as complaining. Like, again, like, I'm sorry, Mike, that you feel the experience was not the perfect one with us. I can understand how frustrating it would be that, to have us quote you 18 months ago, and then have that regret that you went with another client, wishing that you would have come to us, and look, I'd love to help you and go out there and do all that stuff. So there are two ways whenever we're speaking to kind of come at it. We can either come at it from a positive spin or a negative spin. And when you're responding to a one-star review, it's really important to come at it from a positive spin. Yeah. But yes, negotiating, working with a client, you've got to obviously operate with what's ethical in your mind to do. So obviously not suggesting you do anything other than that.
No.
But you can dispute bad reviews if they are not even a client. You can dispute them. So just go on there, dispute it, say it's not a client, never been a client. You can also get other friends and family to do the same. And sometimes that can flag the algorithm to say we should take this review down.
Well, I mean, that could certainly work, but with Google, the support, I guess, is very patchy across all their services, unfortunately.
Don't bother asking Google to take it down.
Yeah, it's not that simple, but yeah, it may work. I mean, what I've seen over time is Google's smart enough to figure out if there's any, bad reviews that have been done by people purposely and potentially that are unrelated to other things. They've got other ways to sort of check things as well. I'm not going to go in depth with Google, but they know a lot of things about you, where you are and what you're doing as well. Yeah. Have we got any other questions?
No.
Use the chat, guys, if need be. Otherwise, I guess we should probably wrap up.
Actually, what I thought I'd show you is what it looks like when I ask a client for a Google review. Who would like to see what that looks like? Yeah. So are you okay to come along this journey with me and participate fully? Mm-hmm. Is everyone okay to do that? Great. Mm-hmm. So I'm going to choose you, Claire, because you're off mute as well as Glenn. Claire, was it a really good experience with me today? Did you have fun? Did you learn a lot?
Yeah, I did actually. Yeah.
Great. Hey, Claire, I'd love it if you could share that experience on Google so that somebody else can have the same experience that you've just had. Would you do that for me?
Yeah.
Great. I've just posted a link in the chat. If you could just click on that, it'll take you straight to the review link. And Glenn, if you could do that as well. Patricia, it's really good to experience what this is like from the client's perspective as well. To click on that, leave a review so that somebody else can have the same great experience that you've just had. And you know what? I'd be really grateful because it really helps a small business like ours get found on Google. Mm-hmm. People really want to support a local business. And that phraseology will definitely help your conversion ratio. And so for me anyway, I just wanted to acknowledge all of you that turned up on this webinar. It's always a joy for me to kind of help and impart some of the learnings that I've had over the last 3 to 5 years, in the hope that you don't have to go through the brain damage that I've done to kind of work this stuff out, and that you can just shortcut and get there a lot faster. And if I can help you guys, then today that was an absolute win for me.
Yeah. Well, I'll just carry on with the slides just to sort of present you with a couple of other things as well. Let me just get back into my presentation mode. Yeah, so Karl, thanks very much for that. That was awesome. I guess I just wanted to sort of close with a quote from Richard Branson, which highly relates to today's topic. Your brand or your name is simply your reputation. You have to fight in life to protect that, as it means everything. Nothing is more important. So this is coming from Richard Branson, and you guys know what Virgin is all about. Came out of nowhere. Airline business was super competitive and tight, and suddenly, what we've got, 15 years down the track is one of the top airlines in the world, among some of the other ones as well. So I guess what I want to also let you know is that we're going to be obviously running the series of this webinars as well, and the next topic is going to be on email marketing. Now, I've put the date 24th of August. However, this may change. we're expecting a little one early August, and I really don't know what it's going to be like. So excuse me if things are a bit delayed. Our third child, so things may be a bit of a roller coaster. But I thought email marketing is one of those really important topics that a lot of people sort of shove aside and never really look into. It's a cheap way, or sometimes zero cost way to potentially get business coming your way. So that's something we're going to be going through as well. If you basically want to get in touch with us, here is the email. And also if you want to use social media, that's my Facebook and Twitter URL direct. As for Karl, I guess he's going to post his contact details as well through the chat. And if you guys got any other questions, feel free to reach out to him directly. You guys have been a great audience. Thanks very much for participating. And hopefully I'll see you on the next Phone Manager webinar as well. Thank you, Karl.
All right, guys. Thank you so much. Really enjoyed